All right, boys, you already know who it is. It's the Frogman on my Frogman YouTube channel. This is Fire Force Manga Review Volume 17. This is by Atsushi Okubo, also known as the creator of Soul Eater. This is Volume 17 inside of Omnibus number 6. Let's get started. First off, man, we got quite a few notes in this one. I was running out of notes. Actually going through this one, I just bought some more little sticky notes. I hope we'll put those to great use going forwards. This volume, summarized up in one word, we could call it exciting. First one, instant W for volume 17. This is a orange is standout panel. I just like this double spread. This is Nataku's son, and he's thinking about how his imagination is infected, and this volume covers what that really means for this character and how it affects his life going forward. Not wasting any time, we push forward to a blue. Blue is a standout moment. I could give this one an orange note also based on the paneling, because that's really what I'm talking about here. The note just says quite literally drawing the line between these two, and what I'm talking about is these guys, Shinra and Company 8 and Kurono from Hajime. The laser beams that being shot out right now has quite literally drawn the line between them, and Shinra's talking about having to save Nataku. Kurono's on his mindset is, okay, let's kill him. But that's the line that's being drawn, while there's literally a line being drawn between them. I just think that's a good moment. That's a good manga moment. That's a good Fire Force moment. That was cool. All right, here we go. A pink. Pink is awesome cliffhanger, standout cliffhanger. This is unexpected cliffhanger, but it's pretty obvious if you think about it. When I flipped the page and I saw Charon stopping this blast from hitting Shinra, I thought, holy shit, dude. Charon's actually doing something for Shinra, but like he says, his mission as a guardian is to protect the pillars, so it makes sense. It's an obvious situation, but I didn't see it coming, which is an interesting dynamic. We're gonna move forward. Here's a blue, awesome blue. I just like the panel of Arthur shaking Vulcan. This panel down here, Vulcan's getting Arthur excited about being a legendary knight and using his sword to this EMP blast that shuts down Halmea's powers. And while he's doing it, Arthur's getting excited. This is something that you can do in manga that you can't really do in real life. Arthur's violently shaking him. He's so excited. He's shaking Vulcan. And I like the image of Vulcan. His chin is hitting the matchbox down here. I like that panel. Here we go. We're going to push forward and open up to an orange. Orange is cool Arthur panel. Panel of Arthur holding up Excalibur like he's really pulling the sword out of the stone. I really like that. I think that's a cool moment for him. And just like Vulcan says, we're glad that Arthur is so stupid. We're glad he's an idiot, because they get to pull off the EMP, the electromagnetic pulse, and he amplifies it and it goes really huge and it covers almost the whole area. And if you think about it, they're inside of the matchbox. It's a mobile area that they can move around and continue to shut down Halmea's powers with, which is a pretty interesting way to use Arthur's powers. But it does get a little repetitive. Every time Halmea comes around, they're looking for Arthur every single time. Come up with another way. Come up with an easier way to handle her. But I'm sure they will. I'm sure they'll come to something eventually. Now, I was pretty low on my orange notes this time, so there's not as many as I feel there should be. I had to make sure that this one got one. This was a sick moment. Just great imagery. I think the panel's good, and it's great imagery for this character, Nataku. Nataku, he feels as though he's a puppet. He's a puppet of a human being because he has expectations from people like his mom, his dad, the people at Hajime. He has expectations and he has hopes, and everything he can't hope because there's expectations, and because of the expectations feels like he can't meet up to his expectations, or like he's the only one that can do it. This is a very mentally challenged character. This character has a lot of strife going on in his heart, and he has to deal with that. And he's only a kid. He's only a little kid. So it's crazy to see the things that this character goes through, but just making him seem as though he's an actual puppet while being a puppet of a human being and not being able to really feel like himself. I think that's a cool way to use imagery, and it's also a cool use of a full page. I think that any full page deserves to be a good moment, and I think that this was a good one. Here we go, just a page after that, we got a blue. This is a good page turn. I gave this one a blue for the moment. You go from, he's telling the people at the research facility, you know, I can do it. I can. He's repeating it to himself, and you flip the page, boom. And here's Rekka. Rekka's in his imagination, or kind of like his psyche. And Rekka's, although he's supportive, it's obviously it's wearing on Nataku. It's wearing on him a lot. If Rekka's saying something like, you know, you can do it. You can do it. If anybody can do it, it's you. You know, and he's telling him, have faith in yourself. You got to love yourself. You got to keep pushing. You know, Rekka's a very positive influence, but the way that it affects Nataku, there's a misconnect there. There's not, Nataku doesn't enjoy it, which is terrible. All right, we open up now to a pink. Pink is standout cliffhanger. Matter of fact, I was going to give this one an orange, but I flipped a page and I saw that it was the end of the chapter, and here we start the next one. And I kind of was like, damn, I got to give it a pink because it's a cliffhanger. But I do think it's a pretty good one. I think that the attack, giant radiation beam Nataku has produced here, coming out towards the good guys, especially Shinra's. Crazy way to end the chapter. You would really be wanting that next one. Surprising, this could have been a volume ender in my opinion. You could have ended the volume here. 18 picked up from the ending of this. That would have been crazy. But I'm glad that it continued, because we're going to get to a moment that is one of the most memorable moments in Fire Force so far in just a few notes, and it's because of this attack. Here is our moment. This is our major moment. This is such a cool moment for Charon. He actually comes in and he, whole chapter, man, crazy. He jumps in front of this blast and he yells at, I am a guardian, and he stands strong. And meanwhile, you've got the hallucinations, or the mind messing with Nataku's son here, and Rekka's telling him he can do it. You're so strong, dude. You can do it. You can do anything. And here we got Charon again. He's saying, I am a guardian, and he spreads his arms and he's throwing them out. He almost looks like Goku. He's grabbing this giant radiation beam, and boom, the force of it makes the ground all around him shatter, and it's such a forceful thing. His bandana that he wears around his eye is starting to rip, and he's having to grit his teeth because of how strong it is. I really like this moment for Charon. It proves that he's loyal to his job. He likes what he's doing, and it adds some more human qualities to this character that has otherwise been a pretty much just a beat stick. That's all he's been so far. Just a strong offensive force. This moment gives him some more human-like characteristics, that this is a man stepping up to do his job, and I really like this moment. The next moment is also continuing that with Charon. This is an orange. I wish I had more of the orange note, because I would have given this page one also. This shot of Charon grabbing the radiation beam and he turns it upwards. It's just an awesome shot of him. It almost looks like Dragon Ball Z. That's what I put on my note. The last page looks like DBZ. This one is just insane. This is the blast shooting up from Earth, and it hits the moon. It actually leaves a crater on the moon, which is insane. That is such a crazy attack. And remember, that was done by a little kid. That was done by this little kid, the sixth pillar Nataku. This guy is going to be insane by the end of the story, dude. This guy's going to be nuts. Pink is the cliffhanger. This is just an awesome showcase of Kurono. He's able to use the smoke to make different types of weapons, and I think that this long Sephiroth almost katana that he has, and he cuts off the arm of this infernal that has abducted Nataku in the middle of it, and he continues to actually slices them up into a bunch of different pieces. This is just a cool way to end the chapter. I think that Kurono has a lot of cool moments. Most of them come from the chapter enders, which I understand, because it would make you want to pick up that next chapter to see, like, holy shit, how does this proceed forward? As always, gotta check out Fire Force. Next up, we got this orange. Don't have much to say, man. It's a full page spread of Kurono doing a bunch of slashing attacks on this giant infernal that has Nataku abducted. Just a sick moment. Awesome moment for this character. And now that he's actually supposed to be working with Shinra and the Company 8 to subdue Nataku in this state, he's becoming a cool guy. I don't like his past, and I don't like some of the things that he says. But as a violent force, as a physical imaging force, this guy's kind of a beast, man. Up next, we got another blue. The first moment of acceptance, and it's the first likable moment, in my opinion, for Nataku. He acknowledges that he's weak, and he's actually like, he's like, okay, it's okay that I'm weak, and he's questioning that. And here is who we eventually learned to find out is probably going to be Nataku's guardian. This is Kurono. He's saying, of course it's okay to be weak. That's why, you know, you stay weak enough that I can keep tormenting you. He wants to keep fighting him, but he doesn't want him to get too strong. Nataku only likes to really pick on the weaker people. Sorry, Kurono. All right, moving forward, here's a blue, next introspective moment. These, what they're talking about in this situation, this is a follow-up a few days later with Company 8, and they're going to see the president of Hajime, who is always on this little Game Boy. He's always on the Game Boy, and something about his eyes, I feel like his eyes are cameras, man. Something about his eyes, they're empty, and something's up with him. But he's asking a good question here, and it's something to get introspective about. You have an Adola burst, don't you? If you could save 15 million people for the price of your life, that would be a cheap price to pay, no? Surely, a fire soldier like yourself wouldn't claim that your life is more valuable than another. And of course, Shinra, you could see this coming. He says, you're right, I would give up my life. If one fire soldier's sacrifice was all it took to save everyone else, I mean, Shinra would do it. He would genuinely do it. But of course, Obi brings him back down to earth. He says, you might end up saving more than 15 million people by living your life and instead of giving it up, which is a fair point. And obviously we push forward. This is just a fun cliffhanger. Nataku actually having some kind of optimism, some kind of hope to look forward. And he's back training again with Kurono. Just a fun cliffhanger. I like the way that the chapter ended. Not much else to say on this one. This is a cool panel. Cool not double spread, cool full page spread. Okubo does that a lot, and I think that he does it in moments that really deserve it. It's a good way to show, you know, not only where they're at, but the people that are in the scene. Awesome panels. Only a few more notes left. The end of this volume was really all about Shinra and Iris, and they kind of go on a little date while they're baptizing the equipment, but we'll get there. I assume a Chinese name, Huoyan. He makes a good point here. And what I'm talking about is this page here. If the evangelist was just a fraud, she would be lining her pockets by setting herself up as a god for people to worship. Good point. Shinra says this true. But instead, she's hiding in the shadows, not letting people know she exists. So here you're thinking, okay, he's making a good point. What is her goal? What's the end goal here? Why isn't, you know, the things that make sense for this character to do, she's not doing? It's a gripping moment for the story, and it makes you always want to know more about the evangelist. Always want to know more about the evangelist. And we're going to push forward. This is going to be our last one for this volume. Unfortunately, there was no cover. I had no note for the cover in this volume. I usually like to have one of those at least. You can see we've got a green here. There's no green in 17. The covers were good. Always they're good. But there's none that really stood out to me this time, unfortunately. But here's our last moment. It's a blue's standout moment. It's just a sweet moment for Shinra and Iris in this moment. Kind of flirting with Iris, but also just having a good moment with her. He tells her that just like a sunflower, she's also facing the light. You know, Shinra and the fire soldiers, they take the lives. All that Iris is doing is blessing them and giving them a safe passage, a blessed passage. He's saying, I'm the killer. You're like the sun. You're always facing the light. You're pushing us forward. And he calls her Company 8 Sunflower. And obviously Iris kind of likes that. But she says, but I'm an Iris. And Shinra apologizes for it. I just think this moment in front of the sunflowers at the graveyard, very impactful moment, very cool moment. And I'm sure there's going to be more of those in the next volume. Make sure you check it out. This is Fire Force 17 review. Next time we're going to do Fire Force Volume 18 review by Atsushi Okubo. Support the official release. Go buy Fire Force today. Support the official release. I love Kodansha Comics. I love Shonen Jump. I love Viz Media Comics. Check them out.